So now in this example, we are going to show you exactly how you can apply MVC architecture to the normal counter app. Okay, now for the model, for the view, and for the controller, we are going to create separate files. And there is one point to remember that in larger applications, for each and every screen, you might need to do that, or a set of screens. Right. Now, let's take an example. Let's say that you are working on a user section or my profile section of an app, right? Of a section of a very large application, right? So over there, you can actually keep just one controller and one model and a lot of views. But if it's like a lot of different files not related to each other, I think it's better to like create separate model view controller files for each and every single screen. Now since we have over here just one screen, we're just going to like create one set. So I'm just going to create a new file, not directory, new dart file, yeah, going to call it view. And then I'm going to create a controller. See, you can write it as like counter controller, or I'm just going to write it as controller right now. And then there is the model, model model. Okay, now in the main dart file, we're just going to like initialize the material app. So let's create a stateless widget. I'm going to call it like my app. And yeah, we are going to return a material app. The title is going to be let's say Flutter MVC. And yeah, in the home we're going to give like the my home page in the view. So yeah, it's going to be home page view. So we haven't yet created the file, so let's go to the view section and create a stateful widget. It's going to be called home page view. Let me import the files. Okay, one more thing, let me just increase the font size, maybe if it's like okay, maybe I'm going to do that later on. This is the new UI of Android Studio, and so this is the new UI of Android Studio, and this is how it looks. And I am still a bit confused where exactly all the functionalities are. So yeah, now yeah, we are doing the view file. So yeah, you know what, like before doing this view file, let's finish up the model first, because we are going to be importing some files from the model in the view. So I'm just going to like go ahead and do the model part first. So yeah, let's start with the model. So I'm gonna like name like models. You can name it counter model as well, but since this is like a one screen thingy, I'm not gonna do much. Let's create a variable underscore counter. The reason for the underscore is to keep the variable private, which means it can only be changed within the class model. Now we need to use a getter function here. It's used to uh, bring the like it's actually used to get the value of the counter to some other functions. So yeah, let's write counter variable and put the value of the counter here. Now next is the increment part. So let me write here void in increment counter. It's a function, so all it's going to do is that it's going to increase the value of the counter. Perfect. Now we got the models ready. Sorry, this is going to be in uppercase. Now let's move on to the controller. Controller is going to be pretty simple. It's just going to be like class control. Sorry, it should be in capital letter. Class controller, event here, role here. Here we are going to create the variable, which is type model, and we're going to name it model. Let me import the file. Now let's create the constructor, this dot model, to accept the model. Now let's again use a getter function. It's going to be counter equals model dot counter. This is going to get the value from the model, and then finally we will be able to pass it to the view part. Now let's create another function. It's going to be called increment counter, and it is just going to like call the function called increment counter from the models. And here we have done the view the controller part. Now let's get back to the view part. So first and foremost, let's just create the variables. It's called a model let's call model, sorry, let's initialize the object. Now let's call the controller, and let's create the variable, and I have put late here because we haven't yet put anything inside it. Now we need to also create an init function. Override, wait, okay, so init function, okay, and it came down here. So let me just delete this part. And all right, so yeah, here we are going to call the controller, and here we are going to call, we're going to like call this controller variable, and we are going to like put in the value. It's called controller, and inside it we're going to pass the model as required, like this model. Now it's initialized. Let me just reformat the code. Now let's go back to our counter part. So here we are going to return a scaffold, scaffold. In the app bar, let me just write app bar in the title. Let's write text counter with MVC. Let's put a const here because it's not going to change. Now let's go to the body part. Here let's call the center widget here, and inside it I'm going to just write here, just pass the text value. So it's gonna be like controller dot counter, sorry, it needs to be within like second brackets or like curly brackets, controller dot counter, yeah. This is done. Maybe let's just change the style of it. Just increase the font size. All right. So font size can be like, let's say 40.0. Yeah, does not sound bad. Let's keep it constant. And yeah, finally, let's tap into the floating action button. FAB. Now let's give it a floating action button. And in the on pressed section, we're gonna call set state. And inside it, we are just going to call the controller's increment counter, and it's done. Now inside the child property, I am going to just add the icon, and it's going to be like icons dot add, right? And let's not forget to give the thingy and if you want, you can add something like a tooltip. Maybe it's gonna be called like increment, increment. Now let's like run this and see how it looks. So with this, we have basically finished like creating the counter app with the MVC architecture, and I hope you're going to be able to apply it everywhere. So yeah, let's wait for it to run. And it's the simple counter app, and it works perfectly. All right, then let me just maybe change the background color to like colors.blue. BL. Yeah, now it's better. Looks perfect. All right, then. So in the next video, we're going to be talking about MVVM architecture. See you in the next video.